Good morning. Yes, it's us. We are the Three Amigos. Graham has nobly stepped in as I don't know what the other guy's up to. He's still in China doing his illicit works for the Fourth Reich. So I'm also joined by Chris, who is now a fully paid up member of Change for Spurs. So I'll ask him about that because questions need to be asked. So, gentlemen, it's all going really well. We beat Burnley. We have done exceptional work in the transfer market. And perhaps one of you, Chris, would you like to kick us off with a homage to the work of Johan Lang and Daniel Levy?
I think the word
we're live on before.
I think the phrase is clusterfuck, which is exactly where this club finds itself. You, in the space of a summer, have bungled the Morris Gibbs-White attempted signing. Then we move on to Eberechi Eze, and we seemingly spend about 2 weeks trying to consider a bid, monitoring a bid, thinking about a bid, and appraising a bid. And then when we do make a bid, 3 weeks after our star player, James Maddison, has fallen injured, a club who suffer an injury to Kai Havertz and have been sniffing around for some time, seemingly come in. It's not even under the cloak of darkness because they'd been sniffing around him earlier in the summer. And it seems within the space of 48 hours that deal's going to be closed. So all this nonsense about there being change at Tottenham, it's absolute bollocks. We've got rid of loads of players out on loan, but you look at what our actual spend is, 55 million on Kudus, a loan of Polinia from Bayern Munich, and some Japanese kid that nobody's ever heard of and are unlikely to see in a Spurs shirt soon. So all that complete bollocks about building on the momentum of the Europa League victory is absolute nonsense. And we've gone back to what we've seen for the last 25 years. And that is a club without direction, a club without any footballing principle, a number of yes men in there. And quite rightfully, answering the question that you start with, what the fuck is Johan Lang about? We hear that he's actually on holiday at the moment with his family. Well, there's 9 days left until the transfer window closes. Our squad is considerably weaker now than when we finished last season. And for all these people bitching and moaning and saying what a weasel and what a wanker Marinakis was after the Morgan Gibbs-White transfer, I'll tell you what, I would kill for a chairman like him because he protects his club. He wants the best for his club. He's ambitious. He's got money. Yet we've got somebody who will never change. And here's the problem. He's holding the club back and he's pissed everybody off. All his peers can't stand him. And he's been played like a fiddle twice this season by Marinakis and now Parish. Full stop.
I hope that that Johan Lang is enjoying his holiday with his family. I hope it's the Manson family. Because I don't think the guy has a leg to stand upon. I think you're absolutely right. I just want to get in briefly before we sort of kick off, and I'll bring Graham in, then ask him how angry he is. But I have to just say, and I did it on a short during the week, I'm going to completely review my security systems around ITK because I've always been very fortunate. I've generally speaking been on the money. Obviously made a boo-boo with Gibbs-White because I said, yeah, he's a Spurs player, because I was working on the basis that nobody in their right mind was going to hold their club and another club hostage for a single year extension to the, please don't do that, for a single year's extension to their contract. But that's the level of cheap bastard that we were dealing with in that instance. But the amount of information, the intelligence, I just have to use this as my hands as a visual guide. You've got two people that have never met each other, have got the same information. Yeah. And the information is misleading. And no, I've never encountered this in my life. Previously, and this is a journalistic technique that some of you little dweebs out there will be quick to think, that you need to get two independent sources before you can run with a particular article or direction in a story, because that way it gives more weight, more credibility to your argument, but to support your findings. But in this twisted, upside down Levy world, you've got somebody in Nicaragua and somebody in Yarmouth both telling you the same thing, and they're both bloody wrong. And I made the point the other day, is someone trying to undermine Daniel Levy, and is it Daniel Levy? because this is the extent of the fuck job. So, Graham, how are you feeling about the wonderful world?
Welcome to the madhouse, Graham.
Well, blimey, I feel like I need a therapy session after those two rants. But obviously I'm on the same page. What I can't get my head around is I don't think the Eze deal was ever happening. You've mentioned on a few of your short takes about due diligence. It strikes me that neither Gibbs White or Eze were ever coming to Spurs, regardless of what we negotiated, etc. They weren't going to come. So why are we wasting weeks and weeks? I think the Havertz thing is a red herring, by the way. I think Arsenal were always going to come in and get him. And what they've done is they've allowed Levy to negotiate the lowest price on their behalf. So he spent 2 weeks negotiating and they've just dived in and said, we'll match it. Knowing, don't tell me agents don't speak to the club. The agents obviously been teeing up Arsenal saying, Tottenham are coming in with this. Are you gonna play or not? Wait for your moment, swoop in, that deal done. They were in the background the whole time, waiting to swoop in and take him. In my opinion,
I think that Levy has been as difficult to outwit as a friend of mine has a dog that's completely blind, utterly blind. Tragic situation, but that dog, all it gets is affection and treats and consideration. And Daniel Levy would be as difficult to outwit as that poor Labrador that can't and keeps bumping its head on walls, because he doesn't do anything. He can't do. That's the point. He can't do anything to help himself. And I've made this point over the years that this guy regards football as an irritant. Football is where you can lose money. Football is where people can cheat and steal from you. And it's always been his ambition to have a paperless, cashless world in which he lives, and ideally a football-less world in which he lives, which is why he was very, very pro the European Super League, because he was quite happy to steamroll in and say, no, you can't get relegated. Once you've come to our level, once you're a Deloitte top 10 darling, you can't get relegated. You're in this for the long haul. And then the thing could just ping pong around, like a ping pong ball in a tumble dryer, and you'd never come to any harm. I mean, that's the way he views football. And so you get all these endless bloody deals, these corporate things for chocolate bars and paint and wireless printers and all this shite that most normal human beings who like football don't give a fuck about. But that is the stuff that fills his day. He hasn't got time for football. And we've got this other thing as well, which it has to be said again. A line has got to be drawn, and it's not being helped. And of course, here he comes again, banging on about the infantilization of the fucking press. But the press saying, "Oh, Daniel Levy's stepping back," and I made the mistake of saying that I thought he was actually going to be stepping back, because this was the 10th time we'd heard the bloody tale, and it's not happened. So you've got the deal with Eze from Palace, and we've got this Daniel Levy speaking directly to Steve Parish at Crystal Palace. And a part of you thinks, well, hang on, they probably know each other of old, and it's the senior man, and you want it to happen, and you get misled and misguided. And that's what happened to me. And I actually began to believe the same shite that he's been peddling for years. And by the time the season starts, the season has started, but by the time the transfer window is closed, I guarantee you between August and December, which is not a long way away, it's only a few months, there will be from Football Insider another article, another rehash of them saying that the naming rights deal is within touching distance. There's no scrupulousness. I mean, we moan about due diligence, but the press don't show any. And we've had two glaring opportunities. We've had press conferences where you could have asked Thomas Frank about the situation with Eze, and in a kind way. There's no need to be rude when you want to be assertive. In a kind way, a well-worded way, and said, how far could you give us a number out of 10? How many numbers out of 10 would you give us for how likely Eze playing against Manchester City, or whatever might be? And he'd say, well, I wouldn't want to put a number on it. I said, yeah, it's for fun. Is it more of a yes, more of a no? And push them for something. Because I tell you something, if I was Spurs, I would have put something out. Because the way you kill a story or the way you propel a story is by putting something out. And you've got Gold My Beer's WhatsApp, you've got Gold My Beer's email. You tell him anything you want and he will publish it within 15 minutes because he sat there with a fucking stick up his hole waiting to be told what to do, you know? And they've had these press conferences and they've made no effort to communicate anything. And it is this high and mighty routine. And I can't stomach this in real life, let alone this fantasy world of Daniel Levy's. But the idea that you, and this is the other one, and we will come back to some of these probably, but the other thing that drives me absolutely up the fucking wall here, and Chris has been banging on about it, but very few sensible people have, and it's the reputational damage.
That's why to come to Paddy Power, rinsing us as a platform.
No stadium sponsorship is absolutely criminal. Get a 5-year deal with fucking Topshop or with Ryman's. I don't care. Get some money coming in. Let people see what they get for their money. Put it up in lights. You know, that's how you can induce a better customer to come through your door. And then you've got this business with two massively high profile transfer things, which are permeating every single back page, every single app, message group, blah, blah, and they don't happen. And somebody else comes out of these deals, a third party. In the instance of the situation with Gibbs, it was the third party were Forest. They came out on top. And in the instance of Eze, Arsenal came out on top. And it's just... I cannot understand how this indulgence is going on. And Chris shared with me the other day, just in case anybody's getting really bored of this, Currys, the electrical supplier retailer, taking the Michael out of the fact that Daniel Levy was browsing and negotiating on a price for an air fryer. This is how he's seen how he's perceived in the world.
Well, I'm
going to go and have a lie down now.
I was just going to say, he's someone that knows the cost of everything and the value of nothing, isn't he? You know, he takes every brick off the chimney. In every deal, he thinks that's what makes him so special. I think Chris alluded to the goodwill he's lost amongst his peers. So when he has to go and negotiate a deal, because he's known as being difficult, no one wants to trade with him. That'd be the same in any business. In the game I'm in, if I know someone's difficult, I'll walk away from them because I think, what's the point? It's not worth the time and effort. And that is his reputation, his personal reputation, and the Tottenham brand. He is put in the garbage bin. We are a joke. We are Banter Club FC, and that is because of him and his direction of travel.
No, I mean his perception is the reality of him. The perception is he's a nitwit. You can't trust him. He's already before you walk through the door to go and see him, you know he's provided water, probably because you're not working for him or you're not Donna Marie Cullen or whatever. It's probably fucking tap water. There are no depths to which he won't sink in order to trim the fat off the meat. And that's the failing of the man, that he doesn't understand that the best cuts of meat need the fat to give it the flavour. He's that short-sighted.
So I'm going to read you 4 tweets that Paddy Power have put out in the last day. First one, Eze joining Arsenal despite Spurs practically having the deal in the bag. And then it says, hands down, my favourite thing about football is how no matter what happens with any team, the joke is somehow always on Spurs. The next one, this is what Arsenal signing Sol Campbell in 2001 would have looked like if the internet had existed. The third one, it only took Spurs 3 months to utterly destroy their own fans' morale and obliterate all the goodwill that came from winning a European trophy. Truly remarkable. The final one, Daniel Levy is going to call Man City about Savinho only to find the asking price has mysteriously gone up by 10 million. And you're allowing a high street retailer to absolutely banter and ridicule your football club. And there's people there prepared to allow that. The Tavistock Group are a global juggernaut as an investment vehicle.
Yep.
And they're prepared for their CEO to make their club a laughingstock. Any other business, you'd have your P45 and you'd have been marched off the premises for that shenanigans.
Can I just drop something in there, because I think it's fair comment to add to that particular conversation the mechanics of why a bookmaker would set fire to a group of customers. Because let's not forget why Paddy Power gets out of bed in the morning. It's to entice people to bet money on the outcomes of games. And you could argue that Paddy Power customers who happen to be Tottenham fans would be disinclined to use Paddy Power because, they're constantly using us as a urinal. But, and this is the big but, what are Tottenham fans betting in relation to? They're not fucking betting on Spurs to win anything. Spurs aren't realistically going to win anything. The UEFA Europa League trophy was an anomaly because it was the 10 worst games that 10 worst sides that we played that we won that came to a useful fruition. But we lost 22 games in the league. The bread and butter of bookmakers is the weekly ACCA and so forth. And this is the whole point. Spurs aren't a serious football club. So instead of scoring a line underneath our name, so for example, Leeds United might have had their troubles in the past, but they've always been massive. Newcastle United may have had their troubles in the past that have always been massive. Somebody like Spurs, I mean, it would only be better if Manchester City were Spurs, because Manchester City don't have much in the way of fans online. You could publish an absolute world-beating exclusive and it wouldn't get lots of clicks. But Spurs, they don't mind setting fire to us because we're not big punters on anything. Certainly not in football market respects. And it just underlines the lack of seriousness there is towards the sport. Because Daniel is always working on his next deal with an electric car thing, and we're going to get sued by Ineos.
That's what I sent you the other day. Yeah,
we're going to get sued by Ineos, and they're talking about Harry Kane to Bayern Munich and Audi as being some part of a deal that they put together, which obviously Sir Jim Radcliffe wouldn't be pleased about. I would be fascinated to hear if Matthias Tell's name comes out the bag in this, because don't tell me there was a legitimate reason for Spurs buying Tell, because I haven't seen it on a football pitch yet.
I don't think Tell's name will come out as it was 2 or 3 years ago, but what it shows is absolute stupidity to be talking to Ineos about the Grandia deal and then mentioning to them in an open conversation, Klein, that it also spoke to Audi about potential opportunities which undermine Section 4 of the contract that we held with Radcliffe's team. That's absolutely pathetic. That's a schoolboy goal. Guess what? Klein's no longer here, so you can guess how that one's going to go.
Yeah, it's an open goal of a lawsuit. That's what that is, because they've got nobody to defend themselves. It's a joke.
I had to laugh at our good old friend Raymond Vega the other night, who put out a fantastic tweet.
Your mate.
My mate, yeah. If you want a striker who has proven himself in the Premiership, you should pay that what is asked to get the deal done, rather than haggling like a Marrakesh market dealer at Tottenham Hotspur FC.
Well, that's how we got Yves Bissouma. So I don't see his point really.
I'm still waiting for my money back.
On those Oakley glasses.
Yeah, I've 3 times in my life I've woke up after a heavy night out with some Oakley sunglasses, a Olex wristwatch, and Yves Bissouma laying next to me.
I bought a bent Rolex off of an accountant in a pub toilet when I was about 19
years of age.
And I'm not joking. I looked at it and I said, "That looks fantastic. I'm very happy with that." Went out the toilet, went to the bar. I said, "Can I have a pint of whatever it was?" Looked at the watch again, and the fucking second hand had fallen off.
Yeah, I had a similar experience.
Those are the days.
I had a similar experience with an imitation Rolex that I picked up in Hong Kong. I was absolutely delighted. Best 200 quid I had. Yeah. Got to 36,000 feet on the flight home, and all the numbers started falling off. So the moral of the story, Daniel, is pay cheap.
Always make sure you always buy a International Watch Company Watch. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm going to add you a couple of names for prosperity and for history's sake. Petit, Oscar, William, and now Eze. All of those players have fucked us one way or another because we failed to put the deal to bed. So now Petit, legendary, using the Tottenham cab money to go over to Arsenal to sign for them. Oscar and William with Chelsea. And now we can add Eze into that equation.
I'm going to have to caveat that, though, Chris. The Petit deal was under Alan Sugar's stewardship rather than Lord Levy. So maybe we're just cursed as a club. It doesn't matter who's in charge. We're just there to be mocked and used and abused.
So, I mean, the thing that I've come out of this with, and you know, is beyond the. And I have to say, this isn't an attack on anybody. I'm just saying, I actually didn't get angry. I was kind of off out of action while this deal with Eze to Arsenal broke. But yes, my heart did sink a bit, and I think I vented a little bit here, but I didn't actually get madly animated about it because I think Enoch and the whole lot, they've just worn me down, and I frankly feel like. I mean, I try not to be illogical. I try not to be completely irrational in my contempt for Levy. I always say hate is a strong word, and I don't hate him. I don't know him. I just pretty much despise him. I think I've got a good measure of the man. I don't think he's actually done us any good. Even his so-called success story, the stadium, was a fuck job, an unmitigated fuck job that we paid through the eyeballs for. And then, of course, he got a big fat check as a thank you. But it's just all of this business. When is this going to end? When is he going to step back? Because I mean, I had a conversation with somebody locally to me, and I'll try and keep this brief and precise, but the guy ran a pub and it had a brewery on it, and there were flats being let out in the pub. And a mate of mine was living in the flat, and I said, my God, this is like something out of the fucking Charles Dickens times. Unsafe wiring, blah, blah, blah. I then looked at the pub with a view to going in with a couple of other people to buy the thing. It was just a write-off. I mean, it would have been better had you left itinerant homeless people in it. They would have made a better job at looking after it. And the point I'm making is that these places all had this man's DNA everywhere. You could see where he'd been because there was just neglect and stupidity and carelessness. And when is this with Daniel Levy? When is this going to be allowed? How do we make this stop? Because he doesn't get it right. And now he's, of all of his things that he's done, and you can say, okay, well, look, don't worry about your opinion on the stadium because most people are quite happy with it. Don't worry about this. We're in the Deloitte top 10. We're ticking all these DEI boxes. We're doing that. We're doing that. So he's absolutely got us positioned. So for me, it made sense to buy into goodbye, Donna. Hello, Charrington. Hello, Vinay Vangatacham or whatever his name is. And it's not bloody happened. What does it take to get... Because this is a scenario that seems plausible. But this is total fantasy. And he's still in charge, still interfering, still bungling deals, and still holding us back.
So going back to your landlord story, is his house of multi-occupation occupied at the moment?
No, everybody's been thrown out because no, it's not where I live, you little wank steak. It's where a mate of mine lives in a pub round the corner. But the place. Well, no, don't apologise. Just try and be a better human, and you won't be forced to embarrass yourself by making ridiculous apologies that nobody wants to hear.
I'm assuming you're a better human all of a sudden, as last week you belittled and laughed about the death of my dog. But this week,
no, I didn't. I didn't.
Blind Labrador walking into brick walls. Changed man.
No. What I did was I inadvertently mentioned somebody else's deceased pet and said they were making a big deal of it. And it then occurred to me what appalling timing that was, which is why I had my head in my hands. And Tony was saying, I think you've broken him. Because I thought, what a gaffe, what a legendary, stupid thing to say. But yes, I have been, because as you know, I'm a massive dog lover, and I have been around a blind Labrador recently, and no point in that conversation or any subsequent conversations did I mention Eric Mamela.
How is the dogging going? Are you enjoying it?
We're busy. We is busy, my friend.
But
So-
you're going back to your original point.
Yes.
Levy's never going to leave the building. It's a cash generation machine for his greedy little palms. There's a word for Daniel Levy, and it occurred to me what it is, and it's scab. That's what he is.
I tell you who would have a great word for what Daniel Levy is, and I'm going to spoiler alert. I don't know what it might be, but the Germans have great words for stuff that speak in the most blunt terms. So you could have this sort of festering parasitic tapeworm of a businessman. That would, in fact, that's pretty good. Festering parasitic tapeworm.
But
that's what Daniel Levy brings to the party. He's got vodka, Bacardi, cocaine, dwarfs, heroin. A festering tapeworm. That's what he brings to the party. Absolutely.
He's stupid though, as any decent person can read the room, and you know what your audience is expecting. Well, what he's doing is he's going to suffer the same fate as the Glaziers and Mike Ashley, and he's going to piss off a lot of people. And there's already the Change for Tottenham group. There's others, and he is lining himself up.
To Change for Tottenham. Can I ask you, having looked at their output, I was very pro them because they were anti-ENIC, which is a massive plus. It has to be said, understatement of the year. But we're reading their other stuff. They're taking credit for Cullen going, taking credit. I mean, are they actually just the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, but they don't want a tenner?
Well, they're chief piece of the Middle East almost overnight. So make sure you recognise them for that accolade.
Were they responsible for those pages?
Yeah, I think it's a toss-up at the moment between Donald Trump and Change for Tottenham as to who gets the Nobel Peace Prize. But if they can oust Daniel Levy in the same breath, then I'll award them whatever they want.
Would they simultaneously oust David Lammy? That's the real question.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? I think
bring us pissed in our time.
Yeah, I think the Labour Party are doing a pretty good job of ensuring they don't get re-elected themselves.
Yeah, true that. Rachel from Accounts, the brand you can trust.
It's a pity we can't have a general election within your football club every 5 years and vote out if you're not happy with the leadership, isn't it, really?
I'm sure Nigel Farage would run Tottenham a lot better than Daniel Levy.
Yeah. I mean, the trouble is, I mean, I thought it was quite sinister as well that Levy came out with that line, "You'll miss me, Red Arm card," and I thought,
like a dose of chlamydia,
like that nasty mark you've got on your toe where you got Veruca as a kid, and when they you know, but I swear to God, he is going to sell us to Bond villains, Romanian people smugglers is where we'll be owning us.
Yeah.
I've handed the torch over to some people I've been negotiating with for some time. Wanker.
So what you're saying is, even when he's gone, we're fucked.
We're triple fucked because there's the fucking he's been involved in, the fucking that he's fucked everybody in with the deal, and then he's going to leave us with people who don't know how to do anything but fuck.
Yeah. The thoughts will be that Ian Brady and Myra Hindley weren't that bad compared to the people.
Yeah, I'd rather leave my niece and nephews with you know. But yeah, no, it's a deplorable situation. But that was in fact one of the things that just gave me a tiny insight because of all the shite that he came out with in that interview with Vinay. And I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again because it makes me feel good. But that interview with Gary Neville, here we have two men who have, within the certain realms of what they were talking about, never done a day's fucking work, discussing not the great and wise men that fell before them, the architects, the steeplejacks, the fucking all these. No. Oh yes, I was looking at some plans because I've got millions of quid in the bank. And people are hoovering this shite up. This is like a guy discussing the reasons why he bought a gold-coloured Rolls Royce opposed to a black one. He doesn't know fuck all about paint, nothing about cars, but he's prepared to talk at length about the wisdom that he has channeled from within his inner. You know, it's beyond self-indulgent.
Well, he's a narcissist, isn't he? And one of the greatest traits you can have as a human being is self-reflection. So how you become a better person, how you grow, is by learning from your experiences and what you've done, and would you do anything differently. I don't think he ever looks.
What?
That's aimed at you, H.
Well, this is
the
something.
Narcissist bit was.
I'm quite happy to bask in this praise, because within seconds of mentioning Eric Lamela, I thought, oh no, dead dog, don't mention the dead dog, and that's why I have my face in my hands. My shame was instant, because I am as far from being a narcissist as it is possibly you're able to be as a human being, and I'm quite proud of that moment.
I'll virtual pat on the back for you.
But apart from the distress and discomfort I caused you, your family, your neighbours, and your immediate friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apart from that, I feel good about myself with a slip of the tongue. But it's surely better that I'm not a narcissist than the other consequences. So that's all good news for all of us. You're still thinking about the dog, aren't you? No, but it's good news. It's good news for all of us.
So where does that lead to us to?
Yeah.
Waiting for Tony to come back from holiday and tell us about something obscene that happened to him in the toilets as he was flying over Magaluf.
Wonder how his perineum is.
I spoke to my GP. You can't even twist your perineum.
No. How's your broken vagina?
It's all right. It's still weeping a little bit, but they say that's to be expected for the next couple of years.
Put some sand in it.
Thank you, Donna.
So it leaves us in a precarious position, really, doesn't it? 9 days left until the transfer window shuts. Are we going to sign anybody? Are we fuck? We're probably going to be made to embrace Tyler Dibbling and Al Canoose or whatever from 2 relegated clubs, but we'll see all these wanky videos out there trying to guide us along the line that these are generational talents who are going to lift the football club.
I have to say, one thing that perhaps depressed me more because of the deep, sensitive soul that I am than the deals collapsing was the fact that there was just this instant, because this is one of our friend Tony's phrases about that nature fills the void. You all right? That nature fills the void. Oh, we haven't got any. We're not signing anybody now. And then for enter stage left, some load of old pony from God knows where.
From
Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy about to spend 100 million, because 95 million of it is in Temu vouchers, on a brand new striker that I've never ever fucking heard of. I just find that absolutely bewilderingly sad. I mean, it really is. It's like saying to everybody, I've met this girl. Look, I've lost my mind. I'm going to marry her. I've been spending every waking spare moment with her. And then 2 days later, you say, oh, yeah, that didn't work out. So I'm going to marry this old thing here with one eye that limps a bit.
Yeah.
What happened? Suddenly going from hurrah, I've seen the light, hallelujah, to something in the lost and found section. And I guarantee you, whoever comes in is an absolute disaster.
The 3 a.m. option.
Well, this is the no AM option.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just brutal. It is absolutely brutal.
Well, it does beg the question. Is all these supposed, we tried FC, all these players we're apparently going for, is it all bullshit? And that is it always, this is what they want? They don't want it to go through, and then we'll go for plan B, which is a downgrade, just to try and appease the fan base. Are they that bright to come up with that plan, or are they just useless at closing?
I think it's a bit of both. I think of course I'm going to repeat myself, but I think there's an enormous degree, element of contempt within ENIC in relation to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club in respect of managers. They don't trust them. They don't regard them as executives. They regard them as basically no better than truck drivers. They're somebody you give instruction to, somebody you give a little bit of liberty, a little bit of freedom to, and they'll probably fucking steal from you or turn up late anyway. And so Do they take it seriously? Is anything going to happen in the next 9 days? Blah, blah, blah. Well, let's go back to Chris's old corker. You know, look who we've got on our front line attack: Dominic Solanke and Richarlison. I mean, if Thomas Frank can get anything out of those two sops, utter waste of space, human beings. I mean, it looks like Richarlison could be coming back. You know, like moustaches. But I mean, who knows?
Well, any club with ambition, even if Richarlison is suddenly reborn as this superstar that we apparently signed, which I've got my doubts about. But let's just say he is reborn. You would go and buy, competition for him. Solanke isn't competition for him. You look at what Chelsea do, look at what Arsenal do, look at what Liverpool do. They even though they've got a fantastic front three, they go and buy another one. You know, they buy another one. They create competition, and they have depth. We've always done this, even in the reasonably successful period under Poch. It was all paper thin. We were fortunate under Poch. Didn't seem to get a lot of injuries under him, but it was the bare 15, wasn't it? We never ever built on it.
It's absolutely true. When I first started writing about Spurs online on the blogspot.com thing, I wouldn't say I was pro Levy, but I was very much against people who just were filled with rage and anger because they frequently weren't very coherent. And also I questioned what they had done. What were they bringing to the party? You know, because anybody can sit there and throw stones. And as a result, I had, I would say, a more tolerant audience towards Enoch and Daniel Levy because, of course, there had been examples of things going very bad at football clubs. However, there was this thing that I couldn't get my head around because football is a contact sport. And you'd have, like you say, that thin 15, as you might call it. And you say, but what about getting another striker? Well, we've got Jermaine Defoe. Yeah, but he isn't going to live forever. And, well, you can't put him on the bench. He'll want to go and play for somebody else. Yeah, but we've got cup games. You know, and there seemed to be this absolute unwillingness, this inability to manage the situation. And one of the things that I've always aimed at Spurs, always, has been their appalling track record in change management. I mean, change management for any business is absolutely crucial because none of us live forever. And I remember having a conversation with some writers doing one of these things on a Teams or whatever it was. And I said to these guys, what would you do if I got hit by a bus tomorrow after the party? Right? You've had your blowout. But the one guy turns around and says, well, we wouldn't really have to do much because we've got systems in place. Change management is absolutely fucking crucial. Mm-hmm. But this mob, I mean, we heard that idiot on the Amazon documentary. Oh, I hate transfer windows. Get out the fucking building and leave your stuff here because I want to set fire to it in the car park so everybody can see that you don't work here anymore. I want to show them how angry I am. I'm going to burn the photo of you with your wife and children and your fucking desk tidy and all your other shit. I'm going to burn it, tip lighter fuel over it in the car park because I need everybody to know that you should have never been employed here.
Well, that's our problem, isn't it?
That's the caliber of cunt that Daniel Levy employs.
That's our problem. You look, how many players have we actually sold and got out the club this season? How many fees have we generated for players? And we're still like pimps trying to pimp out a cheap prostitute, allegedly offering Manor Solomon, sorry H, your boyfriend, and Bissouma and Brian Hill to all and sundry.
Who aren't worth a wank?
Brian Hill just terminate his contract and fuck him off, as no one's paying any money for him. He's a 24-year-old who has hardly kicked a ball in vain and was one of the worst signings in our history. Bissouma hobbling around on crutches at the moment. Manor Solomon, Leeds offered us 15.5 million quid for him. We got him out of a club based on
zero.
We got him out of a club based on the fact that they were in a state of war and an obscure contract meant that we could leave on free, as could everybody playing in Ukraine at that time. Yeah, £15 million. We aren't happy with that. We're just greedy bastards who are trying to And this is our problem. Look at Chelsea. Look at the money they generate. So that bought Boja, the centre forward who was on loan at Everton last season, hardly kicked a ball. He joins Burnley, 20 million. Leslie Unakocha, who was on loan at Southampton, he joins somebody for 25 million. They are the lad who used to play at Leicester, central midfield, Dewsbury Hall, he goes to Everton for 20 million. So yes, they bring in all these players, but they generate incredible fees getting rid of them. We don't bring in 5 pence, let alone millions of pounds. And all of the players
transfer,
the history of that fat Australian twat remains with us, because all of our players resemble boomerangs, and they're eventually unfortunately come back to us, and we're going to be at the same position next year that we come back to a squad of 48 players because of all these loanee returns. We've got nobody at the club who knows about the game of football and can bring in decent players and move players on. You come here to Tottenham to die.
But Daniel Levy runs the academy like he runs everything else to do with the club according to the magic code of the accountants. And so you have this amortization thing going on. You have this business of his alleged retail worth of the individual player. And 9 times out of 10, it makes sense to do nothing. When what should be going on is that you should have in there, because like in a rag trade, okay, I can only speak from experience, but if you bought a line of something, you made a complete boo-boo, you need to get your cost price back so you can go out and buy something else and then make your margin. You can't sit on it pretending, because there's no amortization. You've got a dozen fleece jackets sat on a rail that nobody wants to own at any price. You need to get your cash back that you put into it. It's a fundamental premise of business. So you sitting there going, oh, well, I bought these 27 years ago. Nobody fucking wants them. You've got to wash your face and go again. But he doesn't do it. So you end up with a player because the magic bullet in this is the amortization. Because in the real world, nobody says to you, well, you bought this iced tea for £1.29, and then a year later they'll say, well, the iced tea expenditure is now worth on the balance sheet 87 pence. Nobody says that to you. You've got a manky thing of tea that's been sat there for 12 months.
No successful company, in my experience, has ever been run by a finance director. And what we've effectively got is an accountant who's the CEO. What you have is you have the numbers man there, and the CEO is the maverick. He's the ideas man. He's the stuff that makes the money come in. And you just have him in the background tugging you, making sure your expense line's not getting out of order, etc., etc. The problem is we have got an accountant running our club.
Yeah, you have your CEO who traditionally, as you say, he's call it what you want, maverick, a Viking charging up the beach, first man off the boat. I've got a vision, stick with me. Somebody who is quite comfortable to say in a discussion, no, we're going to stick with my idea. This is the energy, this is the brains, this is the motivation. And as you say, in the back, there's a guy going, excuse me, did you see there we spent 87 pence on stamps on Tuesday? I couldn't make head nor tail of that. And that's what they do. But we've got the stamps guy, that son of a bitch, is the guy who's the head honcho.
Yeah. He's in the wrong role. He's in the wrong role.
That head honcho. That head honcho for trying to skimp on 5, 6, 10 million here and there on deals is holding us back. You've got to speculate to accumulate, and look at these global brands, how much they invest in product development, because they know that if they better what they produce in the long run, the dividends are going to be greater. Let's just have a little refresh here. So under Daniel Levy, we can look at the Pablo Dybala transfer, the Luis Suarez, the Luis Diaz, the Bruno Fernandes when Gedson Fernandes arrived, the Yao Moutinho transfer. Well, did we run out of fax paper or something? Then we've got the David Villa deal, the Fernando Morientes deal, the Willian deal, the Hulk deal, the Leandro Damião deal. I think he might sign eventually next season. You've got Dani Alves, you've got Eden Hazard, you've got Sadio Mane, you've got Samuel Eto'o, Jack Grealish, Morgan Gibbs-White, and now Eze. They're all names that we were there or thereabouts or due to do deals on, and they've all been fucked because of one person and one person alone, Daniel Levy.
Yeah. Daniel St. John Archibald Reginald Perrin Levy, absolute nitwit of the highest order. I mean, like I say, I'm going around in circles here, but when is he going? When is he going? And there needs to be more. I mean, I'm not talking about civil disorder here, but there needs to be something organised. And with the best will in the world, I know devil in the deep blue sea here, but change for Spurs, I see far too much of them wanting to be part of this sort of the public face of this camaraderie, the community stuff that, frankly, I find a bit insidious. It just gets my back up. I'd much rather see a crew of blokes with short hair, flat noses, in big coats going, "We ain't spending any money. Fuck off." Stood there, because that's the stuff that makes him queasy.
Well,
people seeking an audience with him doesn't upset him. He loves all that. Oh, we've opened a line of dialogue. Oh, shoot me in the face. I don't want dialogue. I want you to go.
Sometimes you've got to make a little noise to be heard. And I appreciate what you're saying. And I also know that you have a full circle jacket. So you were one of those crew. But
I've never owned any full circle clothing in my entire life.
I've seen it in person, so stop fibbing.
No, you haven't. The only coach you've seen, Stone Island.
Okay.
I say that quite freely because I'm an antique. I'm a man of my age. I still watch George and Mildred on TV and Minder. I still listen to the same bands. I still wear Stone Island. I don't care. Shoot me.
If you create enough noise and your nationals pick up on it, the Daily Mail, the Sun, those rags that people read, and it's appearing on Sky News. There are people in the boardroom who will get queasy about that because it's all about the investment.
No, unfortunately, you see, this is where it all falls apart, because Sky Sports, you can strike a fucking line through them, and all these other publications you can strike a line through. And do you know why? Because they want the advertising revenue from Sky. And you look at the amount of every week there's articles. How can I watch this game? How can I stream that game? And then there's a little insertion there it'll be from Sky or TNT, one of those people selling a subscription. Now, we know the truth. We know that Capcom have hemorrhaged subscribers across Europe. There's no two ways about it. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. So those people are spending perhaps a reduced budget to a reduced audience who they're probably charging more money for the services. But your methodology of creating a fuss, you can't do it through conventional means. And again, I'm not advocating putting house bricks through windows, but I think there needs to be boots on the pavement. In fact, I'd prefer to see something online. I don't even know, like one of those petition things. Because suddenly, if you get, I know you're not asking anybody in the House of Commons to debate it, but it makes you think. If 2 million people sign a thing saying, I think Daniel Levy should naff off, something needs to be done. There needs to be some class of action through people who aren't seeking tea and biscuits with the bastard, because that's what he loves.
I'm sure they'd disagree with that, so that's not their intention. And
well, they need to, in which case, without being rude to anybody, they need to find out whoever is doing their proofreading and putting out their statements on their social media feed and kick them into touch, because everything they have on there, if you look at it, it's all about opening lines of dialogue, making fruitful, blah, blah, blah. It's all toss. You can't remember the words of that certain Jewish lady. Yeah. Golda Meir. You can't, when someone comes to kill you, you cannot negotiate with them.
But these
we all know who she was talking about, and this is who we're up against. These people don't wish us well. They don't want us to sing. They don't want us to wear flags. They want us to buy merch, and it's just an abomination. They've got to go.
No fault of these people's own. The Change for Tottenham. Working class people, aren't they? They're honest people. They're the representatives.
I don't really mind if they live in ivory towers in Dubai, but they're talking.
It's unfair to criticise and critique them because they're giving it a go and they're trying to make some noise. I'll applaud them for that. But
no. It's totally fair.
Whilst holding the view, they're up against it because they're up against extremely powerful and wealthy people.
Well, I would suggest they conduct themselves in a slightly more businesslike and less friendly fashion. I don't want a line of dialogue with Daniel Levy apart from him saying, "I'm terribly sorry and I'm leaving." In fact, I don't even need to hear the "I'm terribly sorry" bit. Just go. There's so much evidence. There's truckloads of evidence, warehouses full of evidence against this guy and Enoch. And if, as I say, I can only refer you to their materials, not what other people have said about them, but what they've published themselves. And they are looking to do this, the world's just a great big onion and let's have a cuddle. Fuck off with all that. They've got the mission statement has come. It has to be, we have come to remove you. And once you are gone, we don't need to exist anymore. That's the perfect business model.
Like they did that tribe in Patagonia.
Exactly. Didn't open a line of dialogue with them. It was down the road a piece and take your stick with you.
Down the Amazon on your boats you go. Yeah.
On your boat, and don't let us know if the boat's got a hole in it.
Yeah.
We're too busy to check for holes. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I commend anybody that wants to put the hours in. But the messaging has to be right. And their messaging is about this far away, not that far away, but this far away from the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust. And we've seen what they've achieved in the last 20 years. Zero. Oh, yeah, sure. They've helped people who don't know how to get to the railway station get there. They've helped people who don't know how to buy a ticket get there. They've done sterling work for confused people. But in the battle against the club going in the wrong direction, they've achieved nothing.
So how do their tactics differ, Graham, to what we saw the Manchester United fans do in respect to the Glazers?
Well, forgive me, didn't they get a game called off? See, this is the point I suppose H is making. It's too friendly, isn't it? It needs to become hostile.
And hostile doesn't mean you attack somebody's wife. Hostile means that you give off very overwhelming vibes of unwelcomeness.
well, there has to be some consequences, doesn't there? Because he's not going to change if there's zero consequence. So whether that's getting a game delayed, getting a game called off, stop spending money in the stadium, it has to be something that makes him think, shit, I've got to change because it's hurting me now. Whether that's the brand, it's money, it has to hurt him in order for there to be any change. Because otherwise, shouting, I don't care about Levy and all that stuff, he's clearly water off a duck's back for him. He doesn't care about it. It's got to be something more meaningful and tangible, hasn't it?
I heard from an exceptional source that when it came to the last protest from Change for Spurs, that Daniel Levy mentioned anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
And I genuinely believe his hide isn't that of a rhino; it's made of Kevlar. And you need, because I tell you for free. Oh yes, we won the Europa League. Blah blah blah. Well done. But we lost bloody money under that fat Australian. And that was the reason. That was the reason he went. He didn't go because it was a very difficult decision. It wasn't a difficult decision. You lost 22 league games. You had mugs like you two going to games in person, standing there, and after 20 minutes thinking, when is this over? So that person, the when it is this over person, is disinclined to go and buy another beer, disinclined to buy more merch. We've all been to football matches. If you beat somebody 6-0, suddenly you're thinking, oh, what the fuck? I'll get a training top. I'll get to, that's the mindset because we're human beings.
Who cares about the
He lost money under Ange. He lost money. Sorry, what was that? Was that your inch cider coming back to haunt us?
Who cares about the £8.50 for an inch of cider? We just pumped some for 3-0. Well, let's celebrate, baby.
Yeah, let crack open a cold one.
Yeah.
Fuck the fact I can walk into a Sainsbury's local and buy a box of 10 inches for £10. Take my £8.50 because baby wee is out. Fucking hell.
So we pay a fortune for our season tickets or memberships, and they've now introduced a scheme that you can't forward your tickets to people who aren't paid up members. So I don't know what the cost of a membership is.
I'll tell you, because I had this on Saturday because my son couldn't come, so I took a mate. And normally I just screenshot the barcode to him. Obviously now it's changing apparently every hour. I did read somewhere that some people took a screenshot an hour before and it still worked, but I wasn't prepared to chance that. So he had to buy a membership at 60 quid. And then because it was a junior ticket, he had to pay 24 quid on top to get, so he paid that old price. So what was normally, I've taken him a few times, normally a free ticket cost him 84 quid.
Bloody hell.
Well, I've got a mate who comes over from Canada regularly. He's not a member. He's not got a season ticket. And he goes on to ticketgum.com and he picks up a ticket and just marches into the stadium. And that's the problem. We are a tourist attraction. So Levy's not bothered about the likes of Graham and I, who have been supporting the club for years, because he knows the revenue will be generated by tourists. You think about the amount of South Koreans that used to populate that stadium with bags full of merchandise.
Yeah,
it was noticeably less of them on Saturday. I don't know if you noticed, Chris.
Yeah, but when you used to go into the Spurs store and all the signs were in South Korean, and you could pay in two currencies, South Korean or UK sterling, and you were like, "What the fuck is this?" Everywhere I've been in the world, you pay in the local currency, or generally the US dollars accepted most places in the world.
Yeah, but we're being run by an accountant, and he will have had a word with his bankers and said, if I take in excess of whatever, I don't know, yen or Pfennigs or Deutschmarks, whatever it is they're spending in, I want you to cut me a bit better rate. They'll say, yeah, sure. If you can do 10 grand in whatever the South Korean goat's hooves are, we'll halve the rate. He'll do it.
So
because it'll work out to make more money.
Whilst he is making money hand over fist with all of these sidelines of NFL football, Lady Gaga, there's some Indian pop sensation playing there on the 5th of September I've never heard of. But
is that Bud and the Ding Dings?
Yeah, that's the one. How do you spell that?
I can't spell. Wrong person.
Whatever is going to happen isn't going to be for some time, and we're still left in the situation that we've got a woefully under-equipped squad. We're going into a Champions League, and I'm starting to think, what was the point of winning the Europa League? Because we haven't used that as a momentum or a springboard to go to the next level. We won't finish 17th, but we're not going to finish in the top 6. And guess what? Next season, we won't have Champions League revenue. So guess what? We're not going to bring in any star players. Who was the last player, Graham, world-class talent that we signed that got you out your seat, got you excited?
Jurgen Klinsmann.
Yeah, I would say Raphael van der Vaart. But
Van der Vaart,
it has been so long that we're all happy and content with Audi shit from the middle line. Yeah,
we don't make statement signings anymore, do we? No, I mean, ironically, in the 80s, I mean, it nearly bankrupted us, but we did make. But I'm not going down that route because there is a way of running a club efficiently and still spending and being ambitious. But we haven't. We do not make statement signings. Even Van der Vaart. Let's be honest, Real Madrid chucked in at him at the last minute.
He was given to us. I mean, that's like going to the shops and saying, bloody hell, you did well. You've got a brand new Gucci fur coat or whatever it is, and saying, well, actually, yeah, the bloke said, what size are you? Oh, I'm a 48 long. Listen, you might want to have a look at this. I've got one of these out the back. I can let you have it for 100 quid just to get rid of it. There's no talent there. You've done nothing. It's fallen. It's fallen on the table in front of you, and the bloke said, give us 100 quid. It's yours. And that was Rafa van der Vaart. And that just shows you the depth of the problem, that he's not been successful with anybody that he's brought in. All of these 15 mil, 12 mil Clinton cards and all these other just garbage that he's brought in. And the press tell us how wonderful they're going to be, and this is in the style of, and you won't believe it is. And we got all this garbage before Ange Postecoglou came in, lost 22 fucking games. Oh, yeah, it's amazing. We're around the campfire and the press conferences, and Puskás said to me, and I said to Puskás, and it was rubbish. It was horrible football. We finished 17th, and this is what Levy brand delivers. If you got a fur coat, if you got a Gucci fur coat from Daniel Levy stores, when you got it home, you take it out of the bag, moths would fly out and destroy every item of clothing and fabric in your home.
But don't forget, as Daniel told us, Tottenham fans will only appreciate me when I'm gone. Yeah, we'll appreciate you when you're gone. If only it was 10 years earlier.
Right, it's been an hour. I have to say the immortal words, any more for any more.
Well, what's the score going to be on Saturday then? You haven't even done that yet.
3-0.
This is rubbish. This is why we haven't done it. We're rubbish. I think we're going to lose by a single goal.
3-0 City.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1 City.
And can I just add that will be tomorrow will be the first of the watch along a ding dongs, which will be me getting slowly or rapidly pissed, depending upon how badly things work out. So for a limited time only, you can sit in my front room and enjoy the squalor of me watching Tottenham Hotspur going up and at 'em over the trenches, bayonet fixed.
And I'm going to call him out again. Tony, second time we've recorded with no issues to sound or vision. Stay in Tenerife, you sexual predator.
You diseased little fuck.
Yeah, you Hannibal Lecter wannabe.
And on that bombshell, Graham, thank you very much for stepping in at short notice.
Absolute pleasure.
And I hope your hangover leaves your body like the Holy Ghost.
I'm going down a pub in a minute.
Good man. Have one
Good
for
man.
me.
That's it for now. Good luck. Keep it Tottenham.